Hello again, it's Elizabeth and I'm in my art loft and I'm here ready to do the last little bit of putting this box together. It was a little bit of a pain if you guys watched in the last video, number 4. This is number 5. I did not think it would take more than 3, but in the last video I had to shorten this piece here because it was too tall. And the box, the top would have stood up from the box, and I didn't want that to happen. So everything's done on the box except lining the lid and attaching the lid to the box. So here's the lid, and we want to make sure, we always triple check, excuse me, but the lid is going to go on from this side and close on this side. So the lid, when opened, will be like this, next to the box. And the inside the box, the paper goes this way, so we want to make sure that the lid goes this way. So one way to do that is to give yourself a little key, and that is to put a little arrow that matches so that you're sure that you glue this side to this side instead of upside down, because then it won't look as pretty. And I've left a margin around the paper about the same as what we had on the edge of the box. It may be a little bigger, a little bit smaller, but I'm not going to be concerned with that. I think it'll look just fine. Okay, so we're ready to put that on there. We'll get our glue. Again, we need another piece of, a brand new piece of newsprint, which I need to come over here and get. Right here. So we have enough room to paste that whole thing up because it's going to go on all at once. So we'll put the lid out of the way temporarily and we'll glue up our paper. Again, I'm using Yes Paste in case you forgot. Of course you didn't, because you were just here a moment ago, right? I was. Okay. So we just brush on our Yes Paste, and I'm making a mess of it already, but I'm going to have a lot of it because it's a big piece of paper. Put that little lid thing out of the way. I'm going to make sure it's all around the edges. And the thing is, if it doesn't, if it comes up on the edge or something like that because I missed a spot, which of course it won't because I won't miss a spot. But if it were to do that, you could always use some kind of glue to insert in there and just make it go right back down. But since the edges are gluing against book cloth, you want to make sure those edges are secure. And I have a bottle of water I just put over here and it's making weird noises. I think because it was in the refrigerator and now it's getting warm, of course, because anytime you let it sit out, it gets a little bit warm. I think it's making those little air intake noises as the air inside it expands. As it gets warmer, it expands. And I need a little bit more in this little corner here, this little edge. Okay, that looks good. I believe I have glue everywhere on the paper, Get this out of the way. Put our glue brush back in here, and I got a whole new paper towel. There it is, with wet on it. To clean my fingers, and we'll put our lid back down here. An arrow to arrow. Now, the tricky part here is that you want to make both sides even. So even whatever size they are, you want them to be even. So I might have to turn it this way to see, because if you're looking out here, you don't know if it's the same width is what I'm looking at right now. And you do have a little bit of time to move that. And then the other tricky thing is that you want to have this go down into the little creases that you have that fold the lid together. So I'm going to use my bone folder, and I'm going to gently, because my paper is wet with the glue, I'm going to gently crease that down into that area. and then fold the rest of the paper, or push the rest of the paper onto the side, the front end of my box. That's going to be where the closure is. Make sure that's all nice and secure, and everybody's down in the groove like they should be. Get in the groove of things. Yes, yes, yes. Along the edge. Make sure the middle's secure, and it is. And then we need to go down in this groove as well. But you have to do it kind of, you know, be patient with it and let it get down in there. If you try to push too hard, too fast, sometimes you will tear the paper, and you don't want to do that, obviously. And you notice I'm using the side of my bone folder, which is not as pointy as the end. And make sure that that's down. Now this is not as, you will make a little bit of shininess on your paper if you're not careful, but it's not as much as the book cloth will show. The book cloth will show a lot more if you're like using your bone folder directly on it. Okay. And that looks pretty close. Now we don't have to line this because this is going to be glued to the box, and that's going to be our hinge then. So we just want to make sure our edges are all securely glued. Give them an extra little press there. Again, go down through the grooves and press right near the grooves too. Make sure that that's down next to the grooves. And doesn't that look lovely? I think it does. Hope you like it as much as I do. Hope the person that bought it likes it as much as I do. I think she will. Okay, I'm just making sure that that's glued as much as possible there, and that it doesn't have a little. Sometimes when when you're doing this, this can pop up a little bit like that. You just push it back down, make sure it stays glued there. Because that's how it's going to fit on the box. It takes a little while for this glue to dry, so that's why I'm continuing to push it down and make sure that it's in these areas nicely secure. And there is a little bit, tiny bit of blue feel right there, so we're going to just remove that. Yep, fantastic. Okay, down even with the box, fantastic. I did go ahead and glue the front fastening piece. And why do we keep picking up little stray dots of white? Oh well, it'll be alright. I did glue this part down already. I just used I did use my art glitter glue there because it is a strong glue and I didn't need it to have a long open time. So it was easy enough to glue that down. And one more pass with my hands. And then I'll glue down the other side. Make sure I've got these, again, make sure that's glued down in there nicely. On both of them. Right around the edges. Yep, looks good. Okay, so this is going to get glued to the bottom part of this. And this will flap over like this. Okay. And it will close on this side. And you'll probably close it and then do the little latch thing. Lock, close, latch. Then you're going to have a beautiful box that you'll have a beautiful book inside. Okay, so we're going to put art glitter glue on this flap and then glue it down to the box. I don't know if I'm in frame or not. I'm going to look in just a second after I do this. No. It's easier to go this way than the other way. Okay. Ooh, it's nicely in frame. Just get a little more, make it a little more secure. And then to make sure it's near the edge, I'm going to kind of spread it out a little bit. I might put a little more there. I think it might need a little more. I don't want enough that it seeps out though, because then if it seeps out it'll be yucky. Make a mess. I don't want it to show. Okay, so we're going to push that down, push that against the edge of the box. I have this pin in my mouth and I shouldn't. That goes in the top of my art glitter glue. Come on, go in there, you. Put that on my apron. Okay, so we're pushing that down, just that edge. And you can see that it takes a second to set, but we want to make sure that that's right against there. Probably would be a good idea. If we didn't have the other side have that latch on it, we could put a box on top of this and sit it on top. Sit something on top of that. But we do. So I just hold it for a few minutes. And you'll patiently wait as I hold it because you're so nice. I want to make sure that it's, you know, end to end even. And these will wiggle just a little, because they are held by the brads instead of held by screws. But I could not put screws in there because they would have been too long and they would have stuck out into the box. The screws are made for like a wooden box or something. That's one of the screws that came with the hinge. And I don't know that that would have held it any more securely either, because that's still bigger, smaller than the hole was. Excuse me. This is kind of fingerprinty. I'm going to polish everything up. Okay, so our box can go on the shelf and it will slide in easily because we didn't put any hardware on either of the ends. Or it can sit on the table nicely. We can flip open the latch, open it up. We can look in our secret compartment, nothing in there right now. And we can put in our lovely book, My Secret Garden, and then close it up. And there you have it. That's how to make a box to hold My Secret Garden. The dimensions of this are 6.5, well, 6 3/4 by 9 3/4 by 2 3/4, about a little less than, a little more than 2 3/4. And if this starts like looking like it's popping open, like see how it's got this little gap here, you'll just take it and just kind of curve it a little bit. It'll look right again. Get back in there, book. I probably wouldn't sit it on a shelf unless I had other books up against it, because I think that it would be like trying to slide out there if we have it slid out there before we close it. Oh, come on now, you're going to close. There, snap. Okay. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you have any comments, leave them in the comments. If you'd like, subscribe and share and thumbs up or thumbs down if you have to. And there we have the box for the My Secret Garden book. I think it's lovely. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.